So I'm still in my serious vlogging cave, and this vlog is about how we learned to sail. I'm going to start with Stef, as he learned it the proper way. He, at the age of 5, joined a summer camp where he learned it from the ground up. He learned to tack, he learned to jibe, he learned to be in a boat, he learned to flip over with the boat, to bring it back up again, and to be fearless in the boat, basically. Did that a couple of summers, got his own boat, as I hoped that he would do a bit more sailing, but on his own was less fun than with the group, so he actually used that boat to go to Kapitein Uil, where he was taking these lessons to sail with it. And after a couple of years, when he was able to handle that boat properly, we decided it would be good to have a bit more speedy boat, although the other one was called Speedy. So we bought a Laser Pico for him. And with the Laser Pico, he also switched sailing schools. He went to Zeilvereniging Het IJ in Durgedam, where he joined for 2 years, I think 2.5 years, a group of enthusiastic kiddos over there. After that, there was a year of supporting the zeilschool Kapitein Uil, which now was Zeilschool Eiburg, with helping out the new owner to give classes. And this year, actually, he had his own group and taught children how to sail, which I thought was remarkable and very good. If he goes out sailing, he takes out the RS, which is an even faster boat where you can have a lot of fun with. So seeing him on the water is very natural, and even on our own boat, Wind Rose, he just takes it up and just sails off, which is amazing. So my resume started when I was a bit older, about 31ish. I worked at Martinair at the time, and that was part of KLM, so I was able to go to the Schiphol Zeilvereniging, and there I learned sailing on a Randmeer and on a Spanker. I liked it a lot, especially in the beginning, as everything was new. Did a lot of repeating, rehearsal, doing it again and again and again, but finally after 2 years I got my open boat permit, and I was ready to go out there, which made me decide it was about time to buy my first own boat. Clearly that's what you do if you have a license. Instead of sail on that boat, you buy your own one. I looked at local eBay and found Tanjung Priok, which was a 1958 steel with wooden accents, long keel boat. Approximately 7 meters on a waterline, 8 meters overall, and I think it was love at first sight. It was exactly what we were looking for, a robust ship that could take us to learn sailing on a kajuitboot, as we call it in Dutch. And after putting it in the water and made sure that it didn't make any water, and the engine ran, we took it out and we sailed it, or actually on engine, brought it to our house. The first trip was actually quite exciting because we had to pass a lot of bridges straight off. We had to go through a couple of locks. We went to the North Sea Canal, which is one of the most busiest parts in the Netherlands, except for Rotterdam probably. We were on that canal when the engine actually kind of stopped, so that was quite exciting straight off. And the big finale was the Oranjesluizen, which is one of the more busier locks in Amsterdam. So all in all, a very memorable first trip, but we made it and we docked safely at the place where our future home would be. Sailing is mostly about doing. So we got out there, and the first time there was no wind. The second time there was cold wind. And the third time there was a little bit too much wind. But in any case, that year we did do some sails, which was a lot of fun. Then the whole thing froze over, couldn't go anywhere anymore. And after it was possible to sail again, we started our sailing year, I would say. We sailed quite a few times around Pampus with my good sailing mate Joost. And also with him went to Volendam, which was a victory in itself every time we got there, although it's 20-minute drive by car. Every time when we passed that Paard van Marken, it felt really good, and every time we saw it, it was also good to go back. One time when we went out sailing and we got back, next day I looked out. When I got out of my house, I looked at the mast, and I could actually look right through it, which was not necessarily a good thing, and it basically started a renovation, was the starting signal of a renovation that took about 7 years. So, boat in restoration, and I was still unable to sail. At least I did a couple of tries, but I wanted to get better. So what we decided is first off to go together with the zeezeilers van Scheveningen, and we got out there just to experience it together, and there was no wind. So
Geen wind.
But based on that, we actually decided it would be good to do a proper course. So I subscribed at the Zeezeilers van Marken for a North Sea IJsselmeer course, and I absolutely loved it. We departed from Harlingen, went to the locks, to the IJsselmeer, went to small harbors, did anchoring, did a lot of sailing, clearly. And finally, in the evening, went to the Waddenzee, through the locks again, where we finally got to Ouderschild, which is the harbor of Texel. Did some more sailing on the North Sea, and even though we were very early in the season, we had beautiful weather, and it was really an amazing trip. Get goosebumps again. I get them not that quickly, but when I talk about sailing, I do get them. Really a nice experience, and fully enthusiastic and recharged. I got back, and I actually got the opportunity to do another trip with the Zeezeilers van Marken, but this time more of a holiday. We went to Mallorca, and from there we basically boated around Mallorca and went to Ibiza, where we boated around Ibiza afterwards. There I really got into the rhythm of a week-long holiday-ish kind of sailing, waking up in the morning, jumping in the water for a dive, swimming a bit, getting on board again, eating breakfast with a cup of coffee, then setting sail, going to another place where you can anchor, jump in again because it's warm, or row to the shore to get some supplies, and do dinner at a place or at the boat, and go to bed again. And that for 7 days in a row. And I thought it was really, really amazing. Again, we had beautiful weather. On our crossing from Mallorca to Ibiza, we had a gale 5, oh, not a gale, we had a 5 Beaufort with gusts up to 6, which made it really spectacular. I really loved it. Active steering, and yeah, beautiful. So that was a very memorable trip. And when I got back, I decided that I'm going to go for it all the way. So I needed to do some theory. I started with theoretical coastal navigation, which helps if you want to navigate maps and charts and do distance measures, weather stuff. It's really a sailing course. Did my VHF course, the proper one, so I'm also able to do IES and the other stuff. Succeeded in that one as well, made me very happy. Kind of found out that with the theoretical coastal navigation, you're not able to get your international certificate for operations of a pleasure craft. Because for that you actually need to do one more exam, which I then did. So I then had basically all the exams and papers that I would ever need, and now I am a fully certified sailor or boater or whatever, with the small thing that I had not yet sailed a lot with my own boat, as it still was in restoration, but Fortunately, there was a very friendly neighbor with a ocean-worthy colibri called Remy. And with that, we had some serious plans. The neighbor actually wanted to go to Whitby, which is about 240 nautical miles. And after meticulous planning, also taking in the weather, we set out and set sail for Whitby. Actually, we should have known better because the weather proved to be quite harsh, and in the end, we were unable to reach it. So instead of Whitby, we ended up on Texel. And after careful contemplation and checking the boat, we continued our sail. This video shows what the weather was. I think it was quite harsh. And it was so harsh that in the end we actually lost the rudder, which was a great learning moment. And after fixing it again and being able to set sail again, we sailed onwards towards our hometown of Amsterdam. So instead of going to Whitney and doing this 250 miles, we did a rondje Noord-Holland, as we call it, which is in the end still 120 miles. And we did it in a blazing speed of, I think, in total 3 days. So the boat needed some attention, but after fixing it, the year thereafter, we targeted Lowestoft, our new goal. Again, we checked the weather, we checked the tides, and we set sail. This time we were far better prepared, especially rested, and we made it all the way to Lowestoft, where obviously we started with typical English breakfast, and we walked around to get some shots of the surroundings and prove to our family that we were actually there. For the way back, the weather looked actually quite challenging again, so we're looking a bit not forward to it, but in the end it proved to be an amazing crossing where we learned a lot and had a great time. So all this sailing on other people's boat made me realize that my own ship needed attention and I wanted to get it done. So we brought it back home, and after some finishing touches, I started sailing solo. Which was really amazing. It was the first time that I was able to control my boat fully and made it again to Volendam, as I always used to do. I checked if I could use the autopilot, and it worked, and it meant that I was off for a week trip. By luck, I had following winds and decided to go all the way to Texel again. And going out on my own on these on the Waddenzee really felt good. I made it to Texel as well, climbed the tower, walked the beach, and planned my way back. Wind turned again, so again I had following winds, and my way back to Hinderlopen on the first day on the Waddenzee really felt like an amazing victory. We had beautiful weather and a brilliant sail. So after this trip we had de smaak te pakken, and we did quite a few more sails. And one of them was tacking back to Amsterdam, which proved to be quite challenging solo. But I also started experimenting with anchoring. In itself, anchoring isn't all that difficult up to the moment when a line breaks, and then clearly you are in trouble. Did appreciate the silence when you are behind anchor. So all in all, did quite a few sails, and I think it really felt like a victory. So I concluded, sailing it is. Up till that moment in time, we discussed that Sacha would hop on certain stretches and I would go solo. But during that holiday in France, we also decided that we could turn it around. She could hop off on certain stretches, and this made that we had to look for another boat because the one that we had, Tanjung Priok, was too small. We looked at the interwebs and found a hull, and the hull needed a little bit of work. We anticipated about 4 years, which is what we have, so we thought it might make sense. But then, as we say in Dutch, het kwartje viel. we kind of had an epiphany. And we said, well, wait a minute, we are actually the weakest link in this whole sailing adventure. So why don't we buy a boat that is actually ready and take it from there, so we can start learning how to sail and also decide where we want to go, depending on what we like and we don't like. And this is what we did. And this is also the reason why we start these vlogs, because we are sailing already. So we want to take you along. We want to show you how it is as a young couple that's not necessarily good at sailing yet, to do training, to go out there, to experience, to have fun, and to hopefully enjoy sailing, and decide where in the end we want to go for our sabbatical year. And if you want, you can follow us. That's why we're vlogging. So as I said in my last video, hit that subscribe button. If you like it, give us a like or a thumbs up. And if you want to get notified of new videos, click the bell. And with that, a new episode is on a roll. Yeah, baby. Dat was precies wat ik wilde zeggen. Retteke, tetteke, tet. En weer naar huis als een raket.